Good afternoon. I'm Lucy Beadnell with the ARC of Northern Virginia, and we are very excited to be here today with some team members from Northwest Federal Credit Union. We get lots of questions at the ARC of Northern Virginia about how to navigate adulthood, life, independent living, while making sure that our loved ones with all kinds of disabilities are as safe as possible while maintaining that sense of empowerment. And so we were really pleased that they reached out wanting to adapt some of the information that they already have about how to empower people to take hold of their own financial services as best as possible, to navigate budgets, avoiding scams, all those kinds of financial pitfalls that all adults need to learn, but can be particularly tricky for people with cognitive disabilities. So I'll turn things over to them. If you're watching this recording at a later date, you can reach out at the arcofnova.org/answers anytime to ask follow-up questions or ask for a copy of the slides or any related concerns that you have. And so now I'll turn things over to Alicia Little from Northwest Federal Credit Union. Please kick us off.
Thanks, Lucy. My name is Alicia Little. I'm a relationship manager here at Northwest Federal Credit Union. Northwest Federal Credit Union is a full-service financial institution, and one of the benefits of our credit union is that we partner with organizations such as the ARC of Northern Virginia to allow our team to come out and do some education if that's something they want, but it also allows us to support the ARC of Northern Virginia in their mission. We have here today two wonderful speakers, Rosvan and Chris, that are going to talk to you about the basics of budgeting and how to empower yourself as you're trying to navigate your financial future. So I'm going to turn it over to Chris. And again, thank you for being here today.
All right. Thank you so much. Thank you, Alicia. So my name is Chris Greenhill, and I'm one of your speakers today. And what I'll be talking about is, first, I wanted to tell you a little bit about Northwest and who we are, if you didn't know already. So Northwest has been around for approximately 75 years. We're right here in your community. We're headquartered in Herndon, Virginia, but we serve members all over the United States. We're the third largest credit union in Virginia and still growing. We currently help a little over 250,000 members presently, with about 500 employees that are passionate about helping people succeed financially. Our goal is to be your lifetime financial partner. And whatever your reasons for joining the credit union, we want to make sure that we're there for you and to be there for you in the years to come. So today's agenda of what we're going to be talking about is what a budget is, and walk you through building one for yourself. And then we'll talk about how to adjust your budget when needed, and leave you with some tips also for success as to how to implement your budget. But we're also going to talk about some things that you need to be aware of about how to protect yourself, and things to be aware of so that you're not a victim of someone scamming you or taking away the things that you've worked so hard to save for yourself. So that's really what we'll be discussing today. So let's start off here with talking about what a budget is, maybe a little bit about what it's not, right? So a budget is very simply your plan or a roadmap for how your money that you have is going to work for you and where you want those dollars to go. There's not a single financial goal that does not come down to knowing how much money you have to work with to determine if and how and when you will reach whatever goals that you've set for yourself. So if you have a financial goal, a budget is not only your plan for where your money needs to go, but also where you can direct those dollars, so that you have an idea of what it's going to take for you to reach any other financial goals that you have for yourself. So the word budget, has a negative connotation. It has, people don't generally have a positive thought process when they start thinking about a budget. But some people might say, this is a budget is just the very least that I can spend on anything. I can't buy anything that I enjoy, that brings me pleasure, things of that nature. That's what a budget is, cutting out everything that I like. But that's simply not the case. While a budget may entail cutting some of the expenses that you have that you're spending. That's not all a budget is. A budget is really there to empower you to know about where you stand so that you can make good financial decisions. And not only is it going to help you make good financial decisions, it's also going to highlight areas where you need to make adjustments, because any budget that you create is not going to be just a one-time thing. It's a living, breathing document, because expenses change from month to month, and you need to be aware of those things. So it's a reason why you want to have a budget in place. So it's not there to just tell you that you can't go get your favorite sandwich from a fast food place, or you can't go to Starbucks and get a latte. That's not what it's there for. Your financial priorities are going to be different than mine, and yours is going to be different than somebody else's, and that's okay. We all are in different situations, and our financial situations also change, and we have different goals. And those goals are what drives and prioritizes what's important to us in our budget. So that's why the budget is valuable to you. So let's talk about building your budget. Step one, starting by listing whatever income that you have coming in. So if you're receiving money that's deposited monthly to your account, either from a job or from somewhere else, that's consistent. And that's the main thing here. Whatever your consistent income is, you want to set yourself up for success here by putting the right amount here, because you may have things like, maybe you got overtime at a job, maybe you got a bonus or something, or maybe you were doing some odd jobs as well, and or maybe you had a birthday or something like that, and you got an influx of cash that came in for one of those things, but those things aren't consistent. So when you're thinking about those other things that are not your consistent money, you want to consider those more of, this is extra money that can then go towards your goals, but not necessarily for your income for your monthly budget. So it's very important that you start at a right place and set yourself up for success by determining how much income you have coming in, more or less. And maybe you're seasonal, so maybe there's times where you'll make more money during certain times of the year than others. The best thing to do in those situations is really to average it, or maybe kind of look at and be conservative. Like, all right, so if you say you made doing some odd jobs, you made $200 over the course of a few months, but maybe it's $200 one month, and maybe it's 300, and the next month it's 150. You don't want to go in and say, all right, my budget starting at the beginning of the month is $300. No, you want to be conservative. You want to say, all right, my budget is 150, and if I make more than that, then great. Okay. So step one is list your income and how much money you have to work with. All right, so moving on to step two. Next, list everything that you currently spend money on. So this is probably the most difficult part for people building their budget. Most people know how much money they have coming in, but to actually take the time to look at where your money is being spent is tough to look at sometimes, because it's a humbling experience for a lot of people as well. So you want to list out any fixed expenses that you might have, right? So if you're paying for a car note, are you paying for that? Are you paying for insurance? Are you paying for electricity? Are you paying for water? These are things that you're paying for on a consistent basis. You want to list those expenses, okay? So do your best to determine, based on what those expenses are, to kind of get an average of what those are on a month-to-month basis. So if you already have, you already have an account, you've been spending money, this is an opportunity for you to kind of comb through your statements over the past few months to get an average of how much you're spending on what. One helpful tip that I've done when creating a budget is I've gone and gotten like a pack of either crayons or highlighters, and I've color coded the things that are associated with one category. So if it's food, maybe I'll highlight that in orange or something. If it's a utility or something related to where I live, I might associate that with green. But this is a way for you to see where your money is. You're able to see where your money is being spent visually by those colors, as well as numerically when you kind of total up those amounts. Okay, so it's helpful to know how much you're spending in each area so that you can make informed decisions and set realistic goals for your budget. So you may be surprised by how little you actually are spending in some areas, or you might be surprised by how much you're spending in areas as well. But it's important to know and educate yourself on where are you spending your money, okay? So then you can best realign what's important to you and what your goals are. Okay, so going further in the listing expenses, once you listed your expenses, you want to add up those expenses. This is where on the sheet where you can list out your expenses and list them out so you know exactly where your money is being spent. Okay, so putting money in savings, paying off debt more aggressively, taking on new or increased payments, whatever it may be, you also want to list those things on there because that's a future expense. So we've already highlighted your regular expenses, but you also want to list the things that you have coming up or the things that you're working on, those things that are important to you. So that's why you want to make a list of all those expenses, both your current expenses and expenses that you may be anticipating coming up. So that's probably, again, this is probably where you're going to spend the most of your time on creating this. So talk to people that you maybe share your finances with to get to make sure you're on the same page to ensure that everyone's priorities are represented here as well. So if you're uncertain about how important an expense to you is, consider asking, how would my life be impacted if I reduced or cut this expense? So that's going to take some thought, right? You're going to have to spend some time to think about, all right, I'm spending a certain amount of money on food and I want to be able to cut that down. How will cutting this one luxury item affect me? Oh, it'll help me be able to get to this savings goal that I have for myself. So that will give you the motivation not only to redirect your money, but gives you a reason for doing so versus just doing without. Okay. So, so once you've got an idea, all right, this is how much money that I'm spending. These are my expenses. Now we have to talk about the adjustments from one month to the next. So start by looking closely at the amount that you would like to spend on each category, especially those more variable spending categories. What changes might you be able to make in the amount that you're spending in an effort to trying to avoid and cut expenses out entirely? So you don't want to just cut everything out entirely and think that that's a realistic way to approach dealing with a budget. That's not, eventually you're more likely to give in versus just strategically making certain cuts. Okay. So here are a couple categories to consider looking at. Have you ever realized that many of the areas in our budget that many people find themselves overspending on all start with the letter C? Things like clothes or cars, coffee, cable, children expenses, conveniences, and as you can see, the list just goes on. Of course, not everyone or not everything on the list is going to start with the letter C, right? But I'm just giving an example here. Of course, you're going to know where you're probably spending more money than what you should in an area and finding those areas where you can make cuts. And it's worth evaluating if any of these make sense to you. Consider reducing how much you spend on them. Okay. So another area many people don't realize is how much money goes to subscriptions. Based on a 2022 survey that I saw, the average household spends almost $219 every single month on various subscription services. This number can, might be surprising to you, but when you start looking at the different subscription services, that math really adds up and adds up fast. So review your account, or if you have a credit card, review your credit card statement as well to identify your subscriptions and how much they cost. Because a lot of times, also, what I see with these subscription services is maybe you signed up during a promotional period, and those prices have changed. So now you might be paying a lot more for this subscription service than maybe that you intended to, or maybe you'll find yourself with a subscription service that you're not even really using anymore. So streaming services like your television ones like Netflix, Disney, and Hulu. You have Pet with Chewy and box stores. If you have box stores like Sam's Club or Costco, if you're not going to those stores as much or that frequently, maybe you don't need them anymore. But also obviously we like to have food delivered so we don't have to go get it. You have to pay for that, right? So maybe you can save some dollars by eliminating those services and taking an extra step to go get the food yourself, or finding more economical ways to fill that meal need. So now that you have a full list of subscriptions that you're currently paying for, if you are paying for it, ask yourself if you use these subscriptions or not to justify the cost. All right. If you're on the fence about how much you're using or may miss a subscription, maybe consider canceling it for a month or two and then revisiting that decision at a later time. You may realize that you really if you really missed it, you'll find out. You'll find out if you really needed it or how much of an impact of not having it really has on you. Okay, so by pausing that'll give you an opportunity to really see if this is something that I can cut and it's not so devastating to myself. All right. All right. Give yourself a defined trial period and see if it really works for you. Okay. And then reevaluate to see maybe you don't need the same level of services that you're getting. Okay. So subscription services is a really big one. All right. So now I've talked about different expenses. I want to now get a little psychological here with you. All right. So when we talk about money personalities, the first thing I want to talk about is impulse buying. Okay. So impulse buying may feel harmless, but when you're making a single purchase, it can add up over time and add financial stress as well. So what is impulse buying? Impulse buying is you go into the store and you need to get two things to make your dinner, and you're at the register and you see all this lineup of candy or magazines right there on the end as you're waiting in line. And you say, you know what? Yeah, I do. I would love to have 2 packs of Skittles in this magazine. And you throw that into the cart. You didn't go in there for that purpose. You made that purchase and now you're walking out with fewer dollars in your pocket. That's an impulse buy, right? So impulse buying can be influenced by many factors. So it can be influenced by your emotions, right? Your which can desire, your desire to have it. It can be convenience, right? So maybe it's the convenience of having it where you like we talked about having food delivered to you. As soon as when you order food, you see the option. Do you want us to deliver it to you? Yeah, sure. Now you paid more for that. That's an impulse decision that you made that maybe you weren't considering having delivered before. Okay. Instant gratification. So, instead of doing without, now you had this thing that's making you feel a certain way now that you have that item. Advertising. Stores work really hard to advertise to draw you in to make you make purchases. Buy now. You can save 30% off on this purchase sale if you do it right now. Well, maybe you're not really wanting to get that item. Maybe you've been considering it, but you're not doing it. You're not purchasing it right now, but you feel drawn to make that decision now because of the way it's being advertised to you. Maybe it's family or friend has items in, so there's fear of missing out. That's another reason that's another thing that can kind of influence and impulse buy. So if a purchase isn't part of your spending plan, get in the habit of asking yourself some questions before heading to your checkout or purchasing that item. So these are questions like, um, is that item, is this item an unplanned purchase? Like, did I come in here for this? Did I go on this site to purchase this item? No, if it's no, maybe you shouldn't be making that purchase. Is this item a need or a want? Like, do I really need this item, or is this something that I just want? And then you really think about what emotions are affecting my desire for this item. Like, why do I really want this specific item that I feel so inclined to purchase right now? And lastly, you work hard for your money. Your money needs to cover those expenses that we talked about earlier. But how many hours would I have to work to pay for this item that I want to purchase? And really, is it worth as much of, like, when you break it down to time, is this item worth the time it took for me to make the money to purchase it? Okay. And it may not be just that one item. Like I said, it could be accumulation of purchases that can drive that. So based on your answers to these questions, you can take a pulse before making a purchase and sleep on it. That's another suggestion. Instead of making that purchase right then, maybe you should take some time to think about it and sleep on it, and that'll give you time to evaluate these questions more. And if you're still thinking about it after 48 hours or so, consider, really maybe ask yourself, how does this purchase fit into my plan overall in terms of the goals that I want to accomplish? All right. So we talked about impulse buying, right? So what about impulse buying may feel, sorry. So another thing I want to talk about is um, your emotions, right? These emotions are affecting, your desires. And when we talk about different personalities, there are different kinds of personalities, from those who are spenders, who like to spend money as soon as they get it. And then there are people who are savers, who don't want to spend any money on anything. They want to hold on to everything that they have. And then you have people who are kind of go more with the flow. But this is kind of where your budget, and really think about how your emotions tie back to your spending plan. How do those things align? So there are a lot of different types of budgets out there. And what we've provided to you here at Northwest is a page document where you can write down your income, you can write down your expenses, and kind of get a visual understanding of where your money's being spent. But how you'll decide to drive your decisions to follow it and adjust to it is really going to be driven by what you want to accomplish and what your goals are. Because when those emotional decisions come into play and you have to make a decision to do without something that normally would bring you pleasure or make you happy in a moment, you need to have a reason for making that decision. And that decision is going to be tied directly back to what your goals are. So if I'm able to tell you, by you making these certain sacrifices, you're going to be able to purchase this item that's really important to you, that aligns with your goals within the next 6 months or a year, that's going to be your motivation for doing it. That's going to give you the relief, the drive to continue to stay the course with your budget. So I know I've talked a lot today about how to put a budget together and the different personalities and facets that kind of are part of keeping a budget. But now I want to change gears now and hand the wheel over to my partner, Rosvin, and he's going to talk to you a little bit more about what you can do to protect your money.
Hello, everybody. Good afternoon. My name is Razvan. I am an ABM at our McLean branch, so I work at the branch, and I get to meet a lot of the members and a lot of you, I'm sure, in the future regarding it. And then thank you, Chris, for such an extensive budgeting explanation. our most prized possession, right? Our money. We work hard for it. By the way, everybody sees my screen, right? So we work hard for our money. We work hard to budget our money for our future expenses. But there's always people that want to have some short road towards that financial success, and they choose the scamming word. They choose to use our hard work to make their life easier. And as you can see on the slide, we have some of the most common scams that some of them you might have heard of, but some of them might be new because they're being very creative. They're always being creative to take advantage of our sometimes of our kindness, and that way they get to our funds, to our money. As you can see, one of the most common ones are the romance scams and the tech support scams. I'm sure that many of you got at least once one of those tech scams emails, or some of those you won like lottery scams. And even an impersonator trying to call you saying it's the bank. That happens a lot of times, and we do have, of course, tools in place. So based on these, we're trying to be your financial partner from start to the whole road of your financial life, and that will mean for us to find tools and find ways to be proactive, to help you be proactive in your financial life, and not react to when it's too late, when you already got scammed. That's a lot of stress. We do not want that stress in our life. So we 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 worked with our members. We get ourselves up to date with it, and one of the most common ways to protect yourself is to stay informed, to always be informed with what's going on, not only in the scam world, what the new strategies is and how they creatively are using their knowledge to get to our hard work. Funds, but to stay informed with your money as well. So when you budget, check your statements. You want to have that relationship with your bank as well, which at Norway, this is one of the focuses we have. We do not want to lose that eye to eye, that personable connection with our members. We want to really be there. This is where we want to offer our trusted experience. One of our sayings is also like where trust matters. So we want to be that trust partner in your financial support, because it's hard to find someone that you trust with your um, with your hard work funds and money. And as you can see, some of the common ways to stay informed is also to monitor your credit. There's scammers, identity thefter, that so easy in the digital world to get information now, even on our social security, your name, your address. It's not hard, and it's hard to eliminate that. So that's why the main goal is to be proactive with this. So there's ways with the credit bureaus. We can always make sure we're regularly checking our credit score, see if there's any suspicious activity. Yeah, you're always there's reliable sources. So one is your bank. You always want to keep up with your bank, with your online banking, with your statement, see if there's anything there that you do not recognize. There's either reliable sources like the Federal Trade Commission or the Better Business Bureau, where you can see updates on the emerging scams, so you can be up to date on what's going on in the scamming world. And that's the the main strategy is to be informed, is to be proactive. Being reactive in this world is it's more stress, and it's a lot of times it's too late, and we want to be that financial partner also. And to do that, we do have tools in place. Um, Tools that like common to familiar tools with our online banking. We do have multi-factor authentication. We keep our apps. Everybody now it's checking it our banking is on our phones now. So we keep our app regularly up to date. We want to make sure you're always up to date with your app. We do have another tool, which is Car Control Plus app, where another common scam is your debit card, credit card scam. You have skimmers when you go put gas, all of a sudden a transaction happen on the other side of the country or of the world. With Car Control Plus app, a tool that Norwest offers, you have full control of your cards as well. You can freeze them, you can block them, you can put limits on them. So you are the person in control. So if you're traveling or if it's midnight somewhere and you cannot contact your bank on that time, you can always go on the app, block the card if you're unsure of some transaction or you lost your card. And then it's better to be safe than sorry. And if you find the card later, then go back and you unlock it. So we have it's a good tool that allow us to facilitate a lot of our members' day-to-day financial activity. And again, well, through our app, we do have electronic documents. You can monitor your transactions to be up to date, to see your statements, credit card, mortgage statements, or your bank statements. So you're always up to date with your transaction. Nowadays, we have so many subscriptions that we don't even remember. And we even with gyms memberships, we think we cancel it after 2, 3 months. We checked our statement, we see we still got charged. Now it's going to be harder to react to that, create the case and the dispute if you check it regularly. And if it's facilitated and easy for you to check it regularly, then you can avoid those hardships. And another very good way to secure information is to shred. We got used to here at the branch, every time there's a paper with information, we shred it. We don't throw it away, even if there's a line on that piece of paper. So shredding the papers or your cards, it's a good habit to have on your personal life as well. And if you have a lot of documents, us with a credit union, we do offer shred events a couple of times a year at our main building in Herden. We have our members come with all their documents, shred them. So that's another way to help our members be secure and facilitate something for them to be secured. Again, we wanna walk the talk. So and another one is to limit sharing the personal information. It's easy to trust, and another common scam is you trust your bank. We want to be that, but the scammers know that you trust your bank. So everything I say here that we want to be that trusted partner of yours, they take advantage of that as well. So they call you saying they work for, I'll give an example, they work for Norwest and they're doing an update on their app and they need your password, and that way they can assist you with the update and help you. And because we build that trust and you trust us, everything financial wise, you trust us, it will be easier to say, oh, it's Norwest, it's my bank. So, but we have ways now to combat that too, because we saw they're taking advantage of our kindness, which again, it happens in that world. There's always taking advantage of someone or something. So we have ways to combat that as well. We have verbal passwords. That's only between us and you. Either you call us, come at the branch. We do have that to provide, which it will be nobody else will know. Even if they do an account takeover to you, it will still be your last line of defense. And that way, in order to be even more protected, you want to like limit sharing that information. Maybe when you're online, to not say like, well, which where do you bank? They will know, and once they know where do you bank, they will take advantage of that, call you and say they're from that bank. And so securing your information is important. After all that hard work, all that budgeting work that Chris talked about, you need to maintain that for long term, and part of it is to protect your funds, and we want to be part of that as well, and we have the tools to be part of that. And with that being said, during the financial tools that we have, not only that we have tools to protect you from outside factors that want to get into your financial goals, but sometimes there can be hardships. Life can throw you some financial curveballs, as we call them, and you need time now to actually rebuild or even to maintain it. Again, part of that being proactive to build your budget and keep it safe and be prepared for those curveballs. And with that, being said, Norwest also partners with GreenPath Financial Wellness. They've been in business for more than 60 years. They're a non-for-profit, and they can be an ally on your financial budgeting. Even on our website on the Norwest, you have there a link to go to the Green Pad, which is it's free for our members. So it's a free one-on-one financial counseling to develop an action plan for your budget. They help with debt counseling, debt management, housing counseling, student loan or financial educations. So we want to we find a common goal here. So that's why we do want to we're partnered with them to assist our members with their it's a lifeline for those facing those financial challenges, and we want to be there along the way again and offer the tools and partner with have the correct partners for this kind of approach. And with being a member, it will give you access to a lot of interactive online courses, podcasts, worksheets, and guides in order to maintain that uh, organized feeling of your budget in life, and not having to take too much of your day, or whenever there's any hardship or one of those curveballs that I'm talking about that sometimes we can't expect. Life throws us away. We have to be ready. Sometimes we're not ready, but there's partners, financial partners that assist us to become ready or to get back of being ready with this. And GreenPath is one of them, and we're proud to partner with them with it. Now, we say that members have a lot of tools and have a lot of advantages. So, good news, you're eligible to become a member today. You're part of the Arc of Nova, and we're part of us now. So you can join today, be a member, be part of our Norwest family, and be part of uh, b- make us be your financial partner. Be that person during your financial goals, that that personable connection that it's harder and harder to get nowadays. Even with other banking, it's more digitalized. Everything is you don't talk with a person anymore. Everything is we're getting to the AI era, so we want to still have that feeling that you're talking with a person within your during your any type of financial goals you have, loans or accounts. We're there to listen, and we're there to act tailored to your needs. And to join today, we do have multiple ways. We do have it on our website. You can go on our website, nwc.org, and from there you start the application. Easy prompts on the screen. But as you can see, there's a QR code as well. And then your eligibility to join, you select the Arc of Nova. Once you scan that QR code, it's gonna already prompt you, and easy steps, and that's all you need to become to have that membership open, and be part of the family. And on that being said, we also have some gifts prepared today. So hopefully you paid attention as well. And so in order to receive one of our limited edition tumblers, wanted to make this fun as well. Um, we prepared some questions, and if someone answers first, or you put it in the group chat the question, then we will
Yeah.
contact you and send you the gift, or maybe you're gonna visit one of our branches, or even the branch where I am, the McLean branch. So I'll start with my question, and
So everybody get their chat if you can't find it on
yeah,
your screen.
and have your microphone on. Make
Yeah,
sure
just click your
you don't
chat
answer first and
first.
you're muted.
Um, And then once we ask the question, we want you to type the answer in the chat. And if you win, like I said, like we said, we have some gifts that we can either send to you or you can come pick up at our office. So you want to go ahead and ask the question?
Oh, okay. So let's see. The first question. I just talked about it, so it's hopefully it's still fresh in everybody's mind. So if someone that claims they're from Northwest Federal Credit Union, you get the contact, say I'm from Northwest Federal Credit Union, contact you, claiming that we have some updates on our online banking and ask you for that. We request your online banking password in order to facilitate this for you, so you don't have to do anything from your end. We just need your password. Will you provide it to them? It's an easy yes or no questions.
Okay, so anyone's welcome to type in the chat. You get a call from someone saying they're with your banking institution asking for your password. Do you give it yes or no? And first person to answer is eligible to win the tumbler that Rosvan had. Well done. I can't speak to the tumblers, but I can say when Northwest met with us recently, they gave out these tiny little mints, and they're my children's favorite thing in the world. So I'm going to stand behind anything that they're offering and say it's wonderful.
Yeah. Okay.
We always want to be creative with everything that we do.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Oh, I'm getting it. Okay, so we got an answer. No. So great answer from someone that.
Yep. Have a winner.
Yep.
Yeah.
So Charlotte, yes, thank you. Yeah, and they said chat, but yeah, type into the Q&A instead. Absolutely.
Yes.
So Charlotte, thank you for your answer. Yep, I've got your name recorded.
Awesome.
Thank you, Charlotte. And now we can have another winner, and Chris will ask his
All right.
question.
All right. So, with the budget, we talked about the steps, right? On a budget, if you're creating a budget, what is the second step to creating a budget?
And Chris, if you are welcome to give a hint and share the first step if you think it might help folks along the way.
Was to list your income. So you have your income. So then to create a budget, what would be the second thing that you would need to get? What would you need to know?
Answers welcome. Mariko, yes, expenses. Yes.
Expenses. Where is that money going, right? Yes, absolutely. Awesome. Yes. So I know we talked about Green Path, and one of the questions that we had in our chat as well is, do I have to be a member to take advantage of the services for Green Path? So no, you don't have to be, but we do offer that service free through Northwest. And obviously they have a lot of great counselors that work with you. But we're here to help you as well. So I know that we sent out we have the budgeting sheet. But if you need assistance in helping, just talk to us, and we'll be happy to help get you set up so that you can succeed. And another question we had was, where are Northwest branches, right? Rasmin, you want to take that one?
Yes, so we do have branches all over the Northern Virginia. As I said, we are from the McLean branch. I work at the McLean branch. We have our main branch in Herndon. We do have a branch in Gainesville, Manassas. We have one in Middleburg, in Leesburg. We do have one in Maryland, which is the Rockville branch. Then we have one in Ballston. Let me see, I should have counted them. We do have one in Vienna, our neighbors here in McLean, the Vienna branch. We do have Chantilly branch, and I'm seeing if we're missing anything.
Yes.
Did you mention
then, of course,
one Loudon?
all over the country, we do have the share branches as well.
Yeah, we're all over, and if you're on our site, you can definitely you'll see a link that says find my location, find a branch location. So you can find the closest one that's convenient for you, as well as we partner through a service called Co-op, which gives you access to free services. If you're not in this in this Northern Virginia area. We still partner with other credit unions as well that you can that will still allow you to do your banking here with us. So that's a big deal. And I know we talked a lot about obviously protecting your account and building your budget, but our accounts also, we have accounts with no monthly fees and no service fees. So if you're trying to build your budget, the last thing you need is for fees to be coming out of your account just for having an account, right? So if you bank with us, that's another great benefit that we offer here. We offer accounts that are really designed for our membership to really, if you're starting off, or maybe you just want an account where you're not having to worry about paying fees for services. So that's we pride ourselves on giving back to our members. That's part of being a credit union member, is we don't answer to stockholders. When you're a member, you're part of ownership. We answer to you. Okay. One other question
I see
So I
another
wanted
was,
to
what
question.
jump
do I
in.
do? I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, yeah. I wanted to jump in with something that we get a lot that I'm hoping folks seeing this recorded later will be able to take advantage of here listening. And that's sort of about the reasonable accommodations they could ask for people banking. So some questions we get are things like, do you have representative payee accounts? Because I have Social Security. Can we make sure this account, even though it's a checking account, doesn't have a debit card? We
Right,
need hard checks because
right.
that's a little bit more concrete for spending money. Can we set a lower than usual daily spending limit for this account, right? So what
Absolutely.
are some ways that you all have worked with folks with disabilities to make sure their account flexes
Mhm.
to meet the unique needs they have?
Absolutely. So yes, to answer your question, yes, we can definitely structure those accounts that way. A lot of creative ways that we've also assisted is with our online system. You don't necessarily have to be on the account to see the activities on the account. You can add other users to be able to view the activity on the account. So that allows for you to be able to see some things. We talked a little bit about card control from a security standpoint, but also with that, besides the ability to be able to turn a card on and off, you can set geographical spending areas for where the purchases are being made. So if it's outside of that area, it's not going to work. Right. Obviously with our account alerts. So if there's certain transactions, if there's any, you can set it up so if any transactions are done on your account that you receive or other persons receive alerts on the account going in or out. We still can order checks with our account. We can order your first box of checks as well. Also online, one of the options for alerts is if you do write a check, you can, instead of always having to go online and check to see if that check is cleared, you can just say, send me an alert when the check clears. So you can have it when it clears, it will automatically send you a push notification or an email based on your preference. In terms of the limits on the card, I know that generally the card is going to be structured based on the available balance in the account. So the fact that we offer accounts with no minimum balance and no service fees, what may make sense from that standpoint is if we can't lower the limit below what's in the account, maybe you have a separate account set up for spending and an account set up for paying those expenses. That way you have more control over what's being spent and when, and then you're operating within those parameters of the amount that you're allotting yourself to spend. So that's some creative ways that we can put in place. I don't know if Razvan, if you wanted to add to that or not.
Yes, that was very comprehensive and
Yeah.
it tells a lot of it. And we always listen to our members as well. There's always something that if we do not have it in place right then, we will find a creative way to create that account based on, again, our main thing is to make it based on your needs. So we will tailor it based on that need. And sometimes we do not know all the needs. Somebody will come with a unique need that we will comply to it, and we have the tools and the knowledge necessary to create something that can assist uh, everybody to their needs, and
Yeah.
that's something that we want to stand by.
Yeah. And some people do better with cash versus cards. With cash, if you don't feel secure carrying around a debit card, you get an ATM card. ATMs are cards only allow you to withdraw money from an ATM with a PIN number, right? So again, that's where maybe the separate account can have a certain limit associated with you. And if you wanted that option as well, that's there for you. But obviously, if there's any transactions that seem suspicious or that you're wondering about, obviously letting us know, asking us questions. We don't discourage that at all. I think a lot of fraud can be prevented or money can be captured if we know about it as soon as possible. So information is key. So the fact that we have locations everywhere, we have our customer service numbers. You can leave messages to Northwest through our online platform. You can reach out to people like myself and Razvan directly, and we'd be happy to help you.
So,
Again,
and
feel
I
free
see
to
another question, if I may, because we respond to all of them, but there's one that we missed is the multi-factor authentication. Someone was asking uh, what does it mean? So for short is it requires more information than just using your password. Um, it's for example, it's so you still put your password, but you might be asked to get a code either on your personal phone number, on your email, or a secret question, or even the face recognition or the fingerprint that can be classified as a multi-factor
That's right.
authentication, which our app supports.
That's right. Which I strongly encourage anybody and everybody to do. If it's an option to get 2-point authentication, you should do that because if your password is compromised, they still can't get in without that other piece of information. So if you have that, that's an added level of protection. That was all.
anyone else, feel free to put questions in the Q&A. And as a reminder, the recording will be posted on the Arc of Northern Virginia's YouTube channel, and we'll send out the information from today for folks who registered. But if you didn't register, if you're sharing this with others in advance, you're watching this later, all those kinds of things, the arcofnova.org/answers is a great place to reach out for follow-up questions and information. Absolutely, you can go to Northwest directly if you had questions about what they do. But for general kind of disability services questions or copies of the slides or anything like that, feel free to reach out. And I personally am the person who answers the questions who come through there. So you'll hear from me if you put a question in. And we're always very happy to help. I wanted to add that our free Tech for Independent Living team works on an app to help promote independence. And they can do things like help create budgeting lessons. So for example, they could take a screenshot of you or a video of you logging into your banking app, reminding you how to access your passwords, reminding you how to get through multi-factor authentication, reminding you how to avoid scams, right? They can really take the general tools that are out there and personalize them to you and record life lessons on things like that. They can record your voice, your mom's voice, your best friend's voice, whoever's voice, our voices in their prompting and working you through things, because we know for folks with cognitive and developmental disabilities, sometimes hearing it repeatedly is reassuring in addition to being just really functionally helpful. So we want to make sure that that's available to folks all the time.
Absolutely.
I think that's all that we had for today, unless the Northwest team had any final tidbits to share.
I'd just like to say thank you for taking the time to listen to this presentation. Hopefully, if you know someone who could use this information who wasn't able to listen today, you'll share the link to the webinar. And also just reiterate the fact that the ARC does so much to support people that need help, and we just are happy to be part of that. So reach out to any of us if you have any questions. Lucy can give you our contact information. And like Chris said, if you're looking for a financial institution that has free checking, free savings, and all these great services, anybody who's associated with the ARC is eligible to join. So you can share that with other people who maybe are interested. So again, thank you, Lucy, for facilitating this, and Chris and Razvan for your knowledge.
Thank you all. Have a great day.
Everybody.
Thank you.